this video I will talk a little bit about two GarbAugust novels. I know it's not August anymore, but I just can't stop reading these pulpy novels and stories. So I have decided to continue my GarbAugust until I've done every prompt on the GarBingo card, and I will also be reading every host recommendation on the GarBingo card of every co-host. So I will be talking about two host recommendation novels, and that is MJ's recommendation, Liarmouth, a feel-bad romance by John Waters. And the other one is Rage by Richard Bachman, and you may know or not know Richard Bachman was the pseudonym of Stephen King. So this novel, Rage, does not only cover the host recommendation prompt on the GarBingo card, but also written under a pseudonym. So hi, I'm Annie, if you haven't noticed it already. So reading these two novels, a question popped up in my head. As these two novels have unsympathetic main characters, protagonists, and I started to wonder, why do I like one unkind protagonist? Why do I like the one? And why don't I like the other unkind protagonist? Well, I will go into that in a bit. But first I will talk about what these novels are about. Liarmouth is a very recent novel. It is written in 2022, and it's about Marcia Sprinkle, who is a suitcase thief, a scammer, and a liar, a born liar. And she is the protagonist in this story, where she is on the run from the law. She is pursued by, how shall I put it, some sort of ex-employee. Well, a man named Daryl, and Daryl helped her steal suitcases in the airport. So he is also on the run from the law. But as Marcia doesn't like Daryl very much, she dropped him like a hot potato. But she made a promise to Daryl a year when they first met, which was a year before this situation started. And Daryl is determined that she keeps her promise. And along the while, when Marcia steals from her daughter Poppy is also in hot pursuit to get her money back, and she is so livid that she and her friends are determined to kill Marcia. And along the way, Poppy's grandmother, Marcia's mother, is also joining the hunt for Marcia. Rage is about this teenage boy, Charlie, who shoots a teacher and holds his classmates hostage in school. And then I want to briefly mention the TV series The Sopranos, which was extremely popular a couple of decades ago. And this was a story about a mafia family led by Tony Soprano. And Tony Soprano, well, he does all kinds of criminal stuff. He kills people, or he orders other people to kill people. He is a bad character, but he is a sociopath. And who doesn't like a good sociopath when we don't know they are sociopath? But because sociopaths are really good with people. So without us knowing, we might know a sociopath and really liking them. So they are really cunning people. So that's why I probably liked Tony Soprano in The Sopranos. But that's for another video. But back to Liarmouth and Rage. I didn't like Marcia Sprinkle in Liarmouth at all. But I did like Charlie in Rage very much, I must admit. So why is that, I ask myself. So there are two factors which are important for me to like why I like the main character, even if he or she does terrible and criminal stuff. And those are understandable motives. If there is something in a character that I can relate to, and the fact that some nasty characters are also the underdog. I'm a sucker for an underdog, I must admit. Anyway, Marcia, although there is, I must say, action and humor are also an important part of a novel, which makes it for me fun to read about a protagonist who is just a bad character. But in Liarmouth, I must admit there is humor in it, but Marcia, I didn't find Marcia funny at all. And Marcia doesn't have anything that I can relate to. She's just bad, and as I remember correctly, she is mentioned as being the devil incarnated or some sort of thing, which I found interesting, I must admit, but it's never, the idea is never developed. It's just like saying, well, it is what it is. She's just bad because she's the devil incarnated, which I found a little bit disappointing. I would have liked it if Waters did more with that thing. There are funny things in it, in this novel, but they involve Marcia's daughter Poppy and her grandmother. But after a while, the humor of it, well, I get the feeling, well, I get the gist of the humor, and I'm like, well, get on with the story now. I've seen all of the funny things, and it gets a little bit repetitious at some points, I must admit. So there is absurdity in it, which I liked. And of course, I could relate more to Poppy, as she is out for revenge, and she is on a mission. And they are the underdogs. Marcia, her group, her gang, if you will, and her grandmother, they are the underdogs. So take Charlie in Rage. He does awful things, which I do not condone at all. But throughout the story, we get to see where he comes from. We get to see how he grew up and what his father was like, what his mother was like. And we see what happens to his fellow students in the classroom when he takes them hostage. These students become some sort of mini society, and that's really interesting. A mini society in the classroom. Although Charlie doesn't really know himself why he does all these awful things, he shoots two people and murders them, but he also, along the way, trying to find out why he does all these things. He has conversations with his classmates, and along the way helping his classmates, well, develop this experience into something they can use later in life. And most of the classmates, well, they don't consider them forcibly held hostage, as they get to understand why Charlie did these things. So I never felt that with Marcia. There was also in Rage was a suspenseful story, so that was really entertaining to read. But Liarmouth didn't have any suspense at all. Not that it is necessary to have suspense. If there's humor in it, I'm also okay with it. But like I said, I found the humor in Liarmouth at the end a little bit repetitious. I can highly recommend Rage by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. Liarmouth, well, let's say it's an acquired taste. Maybe you like it more than me. That could very well be the case. Anyway, keep reading all of those pulp novels and pulp magazines and pulp stories. Keep those pulp juices flowing, and I hope to see you in the next video.